Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Red Brothers Pod. Unfortunately, it is the Red Brothers Pod and a half today, as Alex is unfortunately ill and won't be able to make it. But after yesterday's result and how well that went, it'd be rude not to bring you guys an episode talking about it. So here we are today. It'll just be me today, but it should be enough to get you covered on the game. So yeah, absolutely unbelievable today. Yesterday, sorry, it was incredible, and you know we rarely see Liverpool perform so defensive and play that sort of way, but it really impressed me the fact that we could hold out for a clean sheet, being under so much pressure. And obviously, all the credit really goes to one man, and that would be Alisson Becker, by far the best goalkeeper in the world at the minute, if not the best goalkeeper the Premier League's ever seen. And I think that was one of those all-timer performances that people are going to be talking about for years to come, because wow. 10 shots on target, 10 shots saved. Some of them were unbelievable. There was that Doué guy, the guy that came on as a sub. Sorry, he whipped one round into the corner. Alisson had it covered, no problem. Again, Kvaratskhelia free kick, absolute rocket. He just tips it past the post, and it's just what he does. And having that class of goalkeeper in your team, that's where he's going to be able to provide for you that foundation to go away to these tough European away games and come out with a good result. And obviously, even at 0-0, bringing them back to Anfield would have been more than a good enough result for us. But bringing them back 1-0 up, even better. And full advantage going into Anfield now. And I don't personally see them coming to Anfield and beating us. They were a lot better than I thought they would be. They really impressed me. I think their midfield was really good, and it looked really well organised for about 87 minutes until Ali sent one long, and the rest is history. But yeah, unbelievable yet again. And seeing the lads get stuck in like they did away at City, and countless times before, it was great to see us sort of get that clean sheet and go on and obviously get the 1-0 win. um Again, for me, I think I can start with the man of the match now, because there's not going to be much debate as to who it was. And again, Alisson Becker, the one and only. Like I was mentioning previously, that's that all-timer performances that people will remember for generations. And when people go on to talk about Alisson when he retires, they're going to be talking about that game in specific, and that will be a great display of his whole career, because he has consistently been at the top level. And yet again, this is what a top keeper lets you do. It gives you that foundation to build off. And without him, we could have been 3 or 4 down going into half time, never mind full time. And obviously taking it back to Anfield 1-0. So yeah, really, really good. And really impressed with Ali's performances and the defence as well. I think Trent, considering some of the wingers and different wingers he was playing, throughout the game. Kvaratskhelia was on the left at one point, and that attack was very fluid, and they kept rotating around, which obviously meant our marking was a lot harder. But Trent did really well, to be fair. Didn't get beaten that many times, and he was a good outball for us. Um, Robbo, again, I think he only got dribbled past once, and that was when Dembele absolutely rinsed him in the first sort of 15 minutes. It was like their first big sort of chance, and that was Robbo getting skimmed for that. But apart from that, really solid at the back, and quality to see. Again, Robbo seems to be picking up his sort of prior form from prior seasons as well. So, that's always sort of impressive when a player at that age can still reach his peak performances. So, yeah, again, brilliant from the defenders. Unfortunately, in midfield, I did think we got dominated. Frankly, just outplayed. But, it happens. And I think that even knowing they did get dominated and they did get outplayed, we're the ones that come out of there with a 1-0 result. And that's obviously as a result to the defenders and the goalkeeper that put in such a performance. Ibu was making massive blocks throughout the game. There was obviously the one where Barcola skied it over the bar. There was right before that, there was a shot that he blocked from Barcola right after Alisson made that save. And yeah, really impressed with Ibu and Van Dijk. I do think Van Dijk had a bit of a moment in the game where he was sleeping a little bit and he got it all wrong. But apart from that, really strong game from Van Dijk again. And this would definitely be a different type of episode if we didn't go on to win the game. I think if we came out of there with a 0-0, it would have been nice and positive as well. But obviously, if we do end up losing that game by however many goals, even if it is one, there would be a very negative spin on it, sort of due to the performance. But what is most impressive about it is, even when we didn't perform to our very greatest, we were still able to go to a really, really, really tough European away ground and come out of there with a win. And, a lot of teams can't do that. Look at Man City when they played at Parc de France. They were 2-0 up, absolutely bottled it, ended up being 4-2, I think, to PSG. And, that could have been very easily us. But the fact that we're still able to stay so compact at the back and obviously have the quality and the individual quality of Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, Ibu, Robbo, and obviously all the people in front of them, it is a really good foundation that obviously was the difference maker for us last night. But I think there was definitely a few poor performances in there. I don't think Gravenberch was at his very best that he usually is. Salah, of course, he's been dragging us through the mud this season, and he did have an off day, but it happens, and I can't see him having another off day at Anfield when they come to play us next Tuesday. So I'll be expecting big things from Mo in that game, but Diaz wasn't great as well, and I don't think Jota was great. I think out of the front three that started, Jota was probably the best out of a bad bunch, but that was because he was just trying to get stuck in. He was really fighting for them 50-50 balls, and a few times he did get us on the break and, get us up the pitch, but it wasn't quite good enough. But again, really impressive to see Slot use his substitutions so well. Nunes coming on, obviously, and Elliot within a minute scores a goal. Nunes gets an assist, and that's the manager making the right decisions at the right time to push us over the line. And don't get me wrong, it's a massive, tough decision taking Mo off at that point of the game, because if anyone's going to get you a winner, it will be Mo Salah. But it did turn out to be Harvey Elliott, so I think massive respect and props to Schlott for putting that to the side and going, nah, no worries, Elliot's going to come on and change the game. And that's exactly what happened. And so great to see, a young player like Harvey come on and score a winner in a massive European game away from home. It's unbelievable. And, being the star boy that he is, he's gone on and taken it so calmly into the bottom corner, calm as you like. And Liverpool end up escaping out of the Parc de France somehow with a win. So, yeah, really, really good, and really happy to see sort of yesterday. Like I said, it was a shame about a few of the performances, but, the lads can't be at 100% of the time throughout the season. There is going to be off days, but on them off days, you need one or two players to step up and make that difference, and that's exactly what we had with Alisson and Elliott coming on, taking the responsibility on himself and obviously scoring the late winner. So, yeah, absolutely brilliant by the lads, and it was a really hard watch. I spent half the game, probably more than half, probably around 3/4, biting my nails, doing anything I could to get rid of the stress, because it was very stressful. But in the end, Liverpool do what they do. And like I said the other week, another Liverpool win. But this time it's not another step closer to the title. It's another step closer to Munich and the final that will be going down in May. So it's definitely given me great hope for sort of our chances in Europe. The fact that we can go away to such a European giant and control the game. No, we didn't. Don't get me wrong, we didn't control the game, but be able to just sit back and know that we have what's there to hurt them on the counter, and being able to use that in the right moments and picking and choosing your moments. Because when you go away in Europe, a lot of people have this misconception that, the British teams are the best, so we should go everywhere and smash everyone. So whenever there's a game like yesterday where Liverpool didn't perform to their very best and, performed quite poorly, frankly, throughout the game. There was good moments in there. Defensively, it was world class, but as a team altogether, it wasn't great. But that's so impressive. It's so impressive going going there and doing that the way we did it, some would argue it's more impressive than just going there and getting a 3-0, because that would show that PSG just weren't at the races for the game. And, we've got to see the very best PSG, and we got to see a not so great Liverpool side last night line up against them and still be able to beat them. And it's very reminiscent of sort of Rafa Benitez. And I think one thing we lacked under Klopp, was that sort of I wouldn't say tactical prowess, because Klopp did know how to change a game with his tactics, but I think that ability to be able to just sit back and soak in the pressure and hit on the counter. Liverpool's team is built for that. You've got pace with Diaz and Salah on the wings. You've got Chiesa off the bench, Nunes off the bench. Great fast players that are going to come on and make a difference. And, we are a really good cup side. So taking full advantage of that, Schlopp did. And, sort of planned the game out as best as he possibly could. And I think his plan would have been keep it nice and compact at the back, try go as long as possible in the game without conceding a goal. And as the game gets later, their legs at the back get a bit more tired, the game opens up a little bit more, we'll get a chance or two and we'll take it. And that's exactly how the game went. We did nothing for the first half. We were probably in their box once or twice. Absolutely nothing in the second half until that big moment from obviously Harvey Elliott. And it's just unbelievable. I can't stop saying the words unbelievable, but that's just the best way to describe this. I mean, I woke up this morning and I still couldn't believe what I witnessed last night. And I think that feeling will be common throughout the Liverpool fan base, because after the first half, if you told me we'd get out of there with a 1-0 win, I would have never have believed you. I would have probably believed that you're on some sort of drugs. And if you then told me, that it would be 0-0, I would have bit your hand off for that because of the state of the game. So, again, really impressive, and defensively really sort of strong. I think, like I said, Schlopp got it so right, and it was very close to being so wrong, don't get me wrong. They could have got a goal or two. Ali could have, missed one or two of them shots that were absolutely bombarded at him throughout the game. And then we're talking very differently right now, but, football's full of hypotheticals, it's full of what-ifs, but the one fact we do know is that Liverpool got the job done at Parc des Princes, so fantastic, and really looking ahead to the sort of Champions League campaign this season for the rest of the season, because I think we've shown now that we can go to these top European sides, whether it's City, whether it's PSG, we can go there, we can stay solid at the back, we can hit you on the counter, and even if Harvey Elliott doesn't score, we bring them back to Anfield at 0-0. That's advantage Liverpool going into the second leg. And again, no matter what team in Europe we play, if we go to Real Madrid, to the Bernabeu, and we get a 0-0 result, again, advantage Liverpool going into the second leg, because everyone knows what a key factor Anfield is to Liverpool's success. And on these big European nights, there isn't a place like Anfield. It's an absolute cauldron. So if you're coming there as the visiting team in a really important Champions League tie, I promise you now, it's not going to be easy for you. And I fancy our chances against anyone at Anfield. So if we can, again, go away to these massive teams and get these results and then bring them back to Anfield, where, the likelihood of us winning is obviously majorly increased, it's really promising for the sort of next few months to see what goes on. Obviously, if we're sort of looking at our path into the Champions League, we've got Aston Villa now that would potentially be next, as they seem to be all but through with Club Brugge. So, if we do the job at Anfield, we then go and play Villa. So again, we play them away first game, we bring them back to Anfield. So again, you go away, you play like you did there. Obviously, Villa are probably a easier side to play than PSG, so you could even go to Villa and win more convincingly. But as long as we have this blueprint here and we're able to use it at different points throughout the season, it just shows the tactical depth that Schlopp has to have that comfort to go, I know this isn't how we usually play, but this is how we're playing today, and you boys are going to do it. And they have. And again, City away, we played exactly the same, but we had a lot more control that game, even though we didn't have possession, just because City were a bit toothless, whereas PSG are a lot sharper, they're a lot quicker, they've got more dangerous players, I'd say, especially with Haaland missing for City. Um, so yeah, if we use this blueprint sort of going forward in these tough away games, and we can go on to win this Champions League. I think I've heard Jamie Carragher say multiple times, when that Liverpool side won the league in '05, it's because they could go to any away ground and keep a clean sheet. In the run towards the 2005 final, we went away to Juventus, who were on form, one of the on-form teams in Europe, and we got a clean sheet away from home. We beat them 1-0 at home, and, we go through by one goal because we put in a really solid defensive performance. So that foundation is there, and seeing Slot be able to, flip systems so effortlessly between whether it's us sitting back and countering, or whether it's us, keeping possession, passing the ball around, or whether it's us chasing a lead and, we're sending 10 men forward for every set piece and every opportunity. Slot seems to have it all in his locker. So that's what I find most impressive about sort of yesterday's performance, is just that flexibility that Slot offers you. With his tactics and with his lineups and with his setups. I think the subs coming on, Curtis Jones, he was massive. We really needed him because he could retain the ball, he could keep the ball, he could carry it up the pitch, which I think was Liverpool's biggest concern, as obviously the midfield didn't perform their best. So the ball was sort of going up to midfield, and it was either coming back from the midfield and going into obviously our defensive zones, or we tried to stick it with the attackers and it just wasn't sticking, unfortunately. We tried that long diag, whether it was from goal kicks or just from playing out the back to Salah again and again, but it just didn't stick. It wasn't his night, but luckily the other lads sort of took responsibility upon themselves and, were able to secure us that win. And that's sort of how the match went in my eyes. Again, it was a difficult watch, but we managed to get there in the end, and the most important thing is we come out of there 1-0 up ahead going into the second leg at Anfield. So I think I'm just going to go into the player ratings now. Feels a bit weird today not having Alex with me, have no one to bounce off or talk to, so mind me if I'm getting a bit lost, but we'll go into the player ratings now. And I think the greatest starting points of all, Alisson Becker, the best goalkeeper in the world, probably of all time. 10 out of 10. Probably the best goalkeeping performance I've ever seen with my two eyes. Definitely, not even probably. I think a lot of people will agree with that, and I think Alisson will now finally start getting the recognition he deserves in that debate for sort of best goalkeeper, whether it's in the Premier League or of all time, because when it comes to sort of raw ability and all the aspects of goalkeeping, Alisson has it all. He's the complete goalkeeper, and he's the goalkeeper every team in Europe wants, but luckily for us, no one else can have him. So yeah, Ali gets a 10 from me. Absolutely unbelievable. Without him, we wouldn't be where we are. And very reminiscent of 2019 when we did go on to win the Champions League. Big save at Anfield against Milik, against Napoli when we ended up winning 1-0. And we either had to beat them 1-0 or by 2 goals. So obviously that goal goes in. It was sort of 80-something minute. We would have been out of that year's Champions League. We wouldn't have gone on to win it in Madrid. And hopefully, this will be the moment that we'll be talking about at the end of the season as to why we've gone on to win it in Munich. So again, fantastic by Alisson. And moving on to Trent, 7, solid, didn't get beat a lot, didn't offer the most going forward, but it was always an out ball and sort of a way for us to get out of pressure. So I'll give him a 7 today. Maybe it's a bit generous, but again, who cares? Liverpool have gone to the Parc des Princes and beaten PSG 1-0. Who cares what Trent gets? All of them can have a 10 for all I care. But just for you guys, I'll go through my actual ratings. Ibu 9, unbelievable. I think he was slightly better than Van Dijk on the night, and obviously the one key moment we will remember from the game is that big block from Barcola, which proved to be pivotal for us. So again, Ibu 9, very happy, and that moves us on to Van Dijk nicely. So I'll give him an 8.5. I think he was just that far behind Ibu for the game. Again, really important. His importance when it comes to our tactical plan and the way we set up is obviously, there's no words that can really describe it. It is just that important, and that's something that you can't put a number on the importance of. But for his performance, just purely on the football pitch, 8.5. I'm happy with that. And that leaves us with Robbo, who genuinely I think deserves an 8. He got dribbled past once the whole game, considering he was up against Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, and all these different wingers at one point. Definitely deserves that 8 for me. And even in the latter sort of stages of the game, after we went 1-0 up, he was still running up and down the pitch as he always does. So for that sheer commitment and determination that Robbo always has, he gets an 8 from me today. And moving on to Gravenberch, like I mentioned prior, unfortunately not the best performance from him. I think it's very rare that we see a performance like that from him, but he seemed sloppy, a bit off it. His passes were wayward. But he will improve in future games, and we'll be looking forward to obviously seeing him play back at his best. But it will be a 6 for Grav today. Unfortunately, just wasn't it. But hopefully when they come back to Anfield, we can see the real Gravenberch, and he can show it at the top level and, really prove that he is one of the best midfielders in the world. On to McAllister. If Gravenberch got a 6, I think he gets a 7. For me, he was marginally better. Really important sort of winning these 50-50 balls. But he did get skimmed quite a few times, whether it was by Dembele or Kvara. Tough night for him, but I think, again, 7 for him. I think that's more than fair. Szoboszlai, unfortunately, not good enough yesterday. Didn't really seem sharp. His passes, again, wayward. He couldn't seem to get the ball out his feet most of the game, so it will be a 6 for Szoboszlai. But again, hopefully, like I said about Gravenberch, we'll be able to see the best Szoboszlai at Anfield, and he can sort of announce himself to the biggest stage. Salah, I mean, unfortunately, I think it might be a 5. I don't think he completed a dribble all game, but again, like we've said many times, he is the best player in the world. Everyone has an off days, even the best players, and unfortunately that was the one for him. Fortunately, we still managed to get out of there with a win, so it's not too much of a problem. But yeah, again, I have to be fair for this game and give my opinion as I saw the game. I'm not going to let his prior performances sort of creep into his rating today, because that wouldn't be a good sort of that wouldn't be good value for his performance yesterday. So I think for yesterday it is a 5 out of 10, but overall for the season, give him a 10 out of 10 because he is unbelievable, and I expect nothing but a goal from Mo versus Southampton on the weekend, and obviously versus PSG in the week. So hopefully he'll be able to pick that form back up, and this is just a one-game blip. Moving on to Jota again. If Salah gets a 5, I think Jota can get a 6.5, just because earlier I mentioned that he was better than the other two in the front three, but I don't think he was great. And I thought, what am I going to give Diaz? If I give him a 6, Jota can't get a 7 because that's a bit too high. So we'll go Jota 6.5, and Diaz we'll go for a 6. And I think that's sort of a fair rating. Again, they weren't on it yesterday. It was unfortunate. I was really looking forward to seeing Lutro's performance on the wing, because he was finally back on the wing, and that's where he is best. And I think we did miss Cody Gakpo, being able to even sub him on. But again, we won, so who cares? And that just leaves us with the substitutes. Elliot, 10 out of 10. First touch of the game, comes on, scores the winner. Absolute star boy, things you love to see. Nunes, give him a 9. Again, the man that can't seem to control his composure. In the most pressured moment, has kept his composure perfectly. Played a lovely through ball to Elliot, and obviously Elliot goes on to finish. And me and Alex mentioned prior, Nunes is still going to have a key part to play in this season, and I think we've just seen a chapter of that. That even if he isn't sort of the striker for Liverpool, and even if he doesn't perform week in week out, he can come up with these moments, and when he does, it's unbelievable. Forest away, Brentford away, Newcastle away, all these big moments, and now again away at the Parc des Princes, comes on, all the pressure on him to sort of give an outlet to Liverpool, and he goes on and gets an assist. So for me, brilliant. Endo comes on, again, fantastic. When he comes on, Liverpool don't concede. I think that's actually a real stat, that when Endo's been substitute and Liverpool have brought him on, after he's been brought on, Liverpool haven't conceded this season, I believe. Which, again, what we were saying about his comparison to sort of John Obi Mikel and these other defensive midfielders of that sort of cut of cloth. Unbelievable. Give him an 8. He came in, closed it down, won a really, really important challenge on the halfway line. PSG were about to break on us with numbers. He came in, cleaned him out, absolutely wiped matey out. But that's what we love him for. And let me just have a look if there was any other substitutes that did slip my mind. I do believe it was just them, but in case I'm wrong, I'll have a quick look. Right, so Nunes came on. Right, Jones. There was one I was missing. Good thing I checked. So yeah, Jones, 7.5, came on for us. Really key for getting the ball up the pitch, and really important for Liverpool's midfield. What he can do, his skill set is so wide, his palette is so wide, and he can do so many things that when you bring him on as a substitute in these sort of situations, he's so flexible as to what position he can play and what he can do. It gives the manager 100 different options on how he can set up. So Jones was key for sort of getting that over the line, and I guess that leaves us with Arne Slot. And again, game plan utilised perfectly, so it's a 10 out of 10 for me for Slot. Substitutes were bang on, and another great win for Liverpool. So I guess that wraps it up for today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in yet again, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys after the Southampton game, hopefully with Alex being back. So thank you very much, guys, for listening, and see you on the next one. Bye.